Welcome everyone to part 2 in our beginner's guide to Europa Universalis 4 in 2021, Blobbing Simulator. Episode 2 is actually blobbing. So, there are 3 parts to actually blobbing, the 3 C's of actually blobbing, that is claims, conquest, and coring. So, we'll start off with claims. So, claims are basically what we need to do to get before we can fight a war against somebody without suffering these penalties of stability and war exhaustion. So if you don't have a claim or some reason to go to war, you get these penalties of stability, war exhaustion, and everybody hating you. So if we click on Albania here, we could actually fight them for reconquering our cores. So if we click on our diplomatic map mode, we can see that we have cores on Albania. We don't actually want to fight them yet because they're guaranteed by Venice and Genoa that have big navies that we can't fight off yet without first building up our Ottoman navy. If you guys think that this is wrong and we can't actually do it, can't actually fight Venice and Genoa at the start of the game with our shitty Ottoman navy, leave a comment and tell me that I'm wrong. Or if you agree, also tell me that. So we need to generate a claim somehow. The main 2 ways of generating claims in the early game are through missions and building a spy network and fabricating a claim on a territory. So with missions are far superior to fabricating claims because we get way more claims at the same time for very much less investment, whereas it requires 20% power to make even a single claim, and the price keeps increasing. So to get these missions out of the way, that's what we're going to do. With the Ottomans, we have 2 main claim missions. Reform the Imperial Army, which covers Eastern expansion, and City of the World's Desire, which covers Western expansion. City of the World's Desire requires us to own Constantinople, so we have to fabricate a claim on it. So we're going to build a spy network and build enough power to fabricate a claim on it. But the other one, Reform the Imperial Army, only requires us to build the army size of 85% force limit. So that is what we have to do to build up enough an army to fight a war anyway, so we're going to do that. But instead of building up all regular infantry troops, we're actually going to buy mercenaries. Mercenaries cost way more than the regular troops, but they carry with their own manpower pool. So this will bolster our manpower pool and take us up to force limit. So this mission will give us cores on Karaman area and this Kandar area. So we're going to move our troops over here in position to begin fighting. So we're going to unpause the game and move our troops over there and get ready for the second phase in our War of Conquest, which is conquest itself. Right. Before we do that, we have to build up our navy for our eventual war with Venice. We're going to use galleys because galleys work best in the Mediterranean and they're also very cheap. And the Ottomans, I believe, get an event to make our galleys way better in the future as well. So we're just going to build up galleys. And this will help us. We're going to pause so that we don't waste time and we can get straight to it. We got a notification. So we get 2 types of pop-ups in this game, notifications and dilemmas. Dilemmas are the actual useful ones. They come with some actual positives and negatives based on the decision. But that we just got was a notification, and most of them can be easily ignored. So we're getting our troops closer to conquest. This means, so we have reformed the Imperial Navy Army done. This gives us cores on a bunch of areas. We can click on our diplomatic map mode to see this, and once we let the date tick by, we now get the conquest war goal on Kandar, and this allows us to take land without suffering any penalties. Before we declare the war though, I gotta mention that declaring wars is one of the key Sunni mechanics. So we are a Sunni nation that gives us the piety mechanics, and piety basically gives us more and more bonuses to our country depending on which side of piety we go to, either mysticism or legalism. The number 1 way we get piety is by declaring wars on people, or change our piety is by declaring wars on people. So if we declare the war on Kandar here, which is a Sunni nation, we would get mysticism, and if we declared war on Albania here, which is a Catholic nation, we would get legalism. So the way the piety system works is that if you declare on somebody who is a Sunni, you get mysticism. If you declare on somebody who is not Sunni, you get legalism. And because most of the world is not Sunni, we will trend towards legalism. And so it's best to maximize legalism. And this leads me into the second major way that we get mysticism or legalism, and that is from national decisions. This scroll up here. So we get a few decisions. National decisions are basically like missions. You fulfill a requirement and you get a bonus from clicking the button. So this is a positive button, and this is also a positive button, and they both give us legalism. So we are now closer to legalism. Since we were at minus piety from mysticism, we now go towards positive piety from legalism. We also get this enforced religious unity button, which gives us missionary strength against heretics. So now we can convert our Sivas province. We also have one more national decision, which is here, expand the Devshirm system, and this will give us, if we have 100 military power, which we have, this will give us the Devshirm system, which gives us the Janissary event later on and national manpower modifier. This is a good benefit, and we should press this button. So by converting the province, we have active missionary modifier here, which increases the unrest and causes rebels to rise up eventually. But the fact is that based on the average chance, it will take 83.3 years, whereas it will only take like 5 years for us to convert this. So this negative modifier will be going away before we even get these rebels, so we don't have to worry about this. So now let's get on to part 2 in our 3C process for actually blobbing, and that is conquest. So we're going to press this button. We're going to conquer either Kastamonu or Sinop. It doesn't really matter because we have claims on both of them. And it will call in Karaman. So now that we're actually in the war, we got to talk about the two main ways that we win the war. And that is sieging and fighting armies. So sieging is the number one way that we win the war. And that involves taking our armies and go standing on the enemy's territory. If it doesn't have a fort, it only requires 1 unit, and if it does have a fort, it requires way more units. It will require 3 units per level of fort. And basically, we will have to send our armies to go stand on the enemy territory. The second way of winning the war is by fighting, and it basically involves sending our armies to go walk into the enemy's armies. And this requires 3 steps. You need numbers, technology, and a general to fight a battle against an army successfully. If you lack even one of these, you are likely to lose the battle. So when we send our mercenary stack against this Kandar stack, we will buy a general. So now we're going to unpause the game. So unpausing the game and Speed and Europa Universalis 4 has 5 key parts. So generally, the faster the game is, the harder it is for you to micro in a war, and the more likely it is you're making a mistake that causes you to lose a bunch of men in battle. So I recommend highly that we stay on 3 speed for most of our wars, and until we get to actually know how the game goes, that we don't go to 4 speed. And 5 speed is basically impossible to micro during a war. So don't go to 5 speed unless there is no way that you're going to get into any engagement with an enemy that we might lose. So let us unpause the game on 3 speed. So to engage this Kandar stack, we're going to wait for our mercenaries to gain a bit of morale before we engage the enemy, and then also buy a general to go with it. So we're going to we're not engaging with this stack anytime soon, so we're going to pause the game, give our stack here of mercenaries the general. Come on, there we go. Give the stack our general, and then unpause the game on 3 speed, and then move to reinforce with our other stack. And in the meantime, we'll move with this army stack over to fight the Karaman armies. So for this war, to conquer the territory, we have to siege down the territory. So sieging, if we click on this province, we can see the siege overview. Mainly, you look at this number here, regiments required 9, and then add 1 so that we don't lose our siege progress from attrition. And basically what is going to happen now is that we stand with the required amount of men on the territory, and occupy it and take as long as we need to occupy it, while in the meantime we go and engage the other armies with our other stack after buying a general for them, of course. So with sieges, you can see that we require this many people and we have all of these modifiers, and the main ways to and having more positive modifiers makes the siege go faster, but in generally we just wait for this number to tick up until we get enough of a positive chance that we win the siege and occupy the territory. So we now have enough manpower to, monarch power to buy the general. We'll give our troops the general and now start to chase after the enemy armies. So occupying territories and beating enemy armies in the field contributes to our war score here. And war score is what we need to affect peace deals. So our peace deal here, we want to get both of Kandar's provinces and their money. And you can see that we need a lot of war score roughly to make them accept this peace deal. And we get that war score from occupying their territory or fighting their armies in the field. So we're just going to do that for now. And we've occupied this territory, so we can send our other army to start chasing down our army as well. That's a notification. We can ignore that because it's just got an OK button and we can't really affect the outcome. So we're just going to chase these armies around until we get enough war scored so that we can actually demand the stuff in the peace deal. So although Kandar is the war leader, and if we peace them out, we would also peace out Caravan. We can peace out Caravan separately. We're going to want to do this because we have claims on Caravan separately, and if they're not the main co-belligerent, if they're not the main war leader, they have this red flag that says they're not a co-belligerent. It will take us more resources, or it will cost us more war score and more diplomatic power to take any of their provinces. So that is not the case if we were to declare war on them separately, so we'll try to peace out Caravan separately for now. This is going to require us to take this zero cost war scores so that we get as short of a truce as possible. So in the meantime, we're just going to chase down their armies. And this is going to probably require us to watch them carefully and wait for them to make a mistake where they are locked into a territory that we can move into. This is just going to require us to stand next to them for a while we wait for our troops here to finish sieging down this land. So our troops are now next to them, and now we can move to engage them. But they're not moving, so we'll try to cut them off at an interception point while they're locked into a movement option. So now we just have to occupy their territory by sieging down their land, in particular their capital, which has level 1 fort and has like this little castle rampart with the crown on it, and that should make them willing to peace out. And in the meantime, we're gonna try to micro our forces around to try to kill off the enemy. So we've cut off Caravan here, and basically we've got them in a pincer. This is going to probably kill off their army. We outnumber them by such a degree that the lack of the general probably won't affect our outcome very much. And after we kill off this army, we're going to go stand on their territory to try to occupy it and get enough war score to peace them out of this war as well. So there we go. We've killed off both their armies, and we're just going to consolidate our troops and go occupy Caravan so that we could occupy their territories. In the meantime, we're just waiting for the siege to complete, and we've given them a good siege general, and now we just need to wait for our our navy to complete so we can start getting this siege underway. So in the meantime, we're just going to go over to Caravan and try to peace them out, and now we can increase the speed of the game since we're at war and there's nothing. So since that, even though we're at war, there's no enemy army that we're about to fight, so there's no way that we're going to get caught out in a bad engagement because there is no engagement. The armies of the enemy are all dead. So we're just going to siege them down, and Caravan should be willing to peace out of this war separately when they are when we've occupied the capital of Caravan. Since their 4 level is just 1, it only requires 3 people to siege here, so we can actually take off like half of my troops here and go send them to go siege down and occupy the other province territories. In the meantime, to prepare for our eventual naval engagement, we'll buy a naval general, an admiral with diplomatic power, because just like with regular land engagements, we require a general, numbers, and technology if we're going to fight any enemy navies in the field. So we're going to do that, and now we just wait for this war to complete. We can honestly wait at 5 speed right now, although to micro we'll probably use our pausing ability. Okay, we're gonna fight some navies now, so we should go back down to 3 speed. We have the general, and now we're going to fight here in what looks to be a pretty easy engagement, and then that's got them. So now we're going to get more of our navies. But before that, since our navies are finished building, we're actually going to build up way more navies. It's fine to build above your force limit in terms of galleys because galleys are so cheap, and if we were to look at our current expenditures on navies, it only costs like $1. So even if our expenditure went up by 50% or 100%, it would only cost us $2. So in the meantime, we're just going to buy our galleys, since they're the best combat ship here in the Mediterranean, and we're going to send our navies to go engage the other navies so we can actually start blockading their ports. Okay, this is a big enough combat stack. Now we're going to engage this Kandar navy, Karaman navy. Maybe intercept them with our extra boats. There we go, we should be winning that one handily as well. And then once we won this battle, we'll just go send our boat over to Kandar up here in the Black Sea to blockade that port and get rid of this -2 debuff from the port not being blockaded. Okay, there, that's that combat 1, so we'll just send our navy over here now. In the meantime, it doesn't look like we're going to fight any difficult battles, so we'll increase the speed up to 4. We still have to fight a battle, so in case there's any surprises, we're not going to get caught out by it. So we've moved up next to it. You can see that over time, all our modifiers have been building up, and our chances of winning the siege on any siege tick feeling of this pie chart is 28%, and that percentage is probably going to go up a bit more once we start blockading this province. In the meantime, we're just waiting for Karaman to peace out of this. Oh, you see, we've killed their armies, we killed their navies, so even though we don't occupy the territories that much, especially not the capital, they're willing to peace out for 0 cost. So we'll do that, and now Kandar is probably also willing to peace out. So this is coming to the end of our second part in the Blobbing loop, which is Conquest. We just have to wait for this now to end. We have a 42% chance, and we're just waiting for time to pass now. We're waiting at 5 speed because it's pretty quick, as fast as my computer can run it, and we just have to wait. So yeah, there we go, the siege is over, and now we'll just peace out. We're going to take their 2 provinces, and then we're going to take their money, and that's it. That's part 2 of our Blobbing done, Conquest. So now that Conquest is done, we will now do Coring. Coring is mainly to deal with 2 things: overextension and getting stuff from the land. Overextension is this bad modifier that we have, and it basically means that if we go above over 100% overextension, we get way more rebels, in addition to the already big modifiers from overextension that is just caused from overextension itself. To get rid of this, we need to core the land using our admin power. So if you see that, our admin power goes down for the cost. And secondly, the second reason we core the land is because until we core the land, we don't get anything out of it. So this 6 development province is giving us more than this 10 development province. So that is the 3-part Europa Universalis for Blobbing loop: claiming, conquering, and coring. So in the next episode, we will delve into the actually blobbing into harder neighbors. So thank you for watching actually blobbing, and see you in part 3, difficult blobbing. See you then.